friends, I'm here to make one of my most favorite soaps ever, and that's Winter Wonderland. I'm adding in my lye solution here, and Winter Wonderland is a blend of red berries. It has some jasmine, gardenia, some peach, vanilla, amber, musk, and let's see, a little sandalwood. So it's a very well-rounded scent. It's warm, but it's like sweet and fruity. I love it. I'm going to do it the same way as I did last year. I don't do that too often, you know. But I really did love how it looks, so I want to at least attempt to repeat it. So I'm adding in my coconut milk. Now this does discolor just a little bit, so I'm going to split some off for the white portion so that it's not fragranced. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little in, and I'm probably going to need more than that. And I'm going to go ahead and whiten it. My titanium dioxide is being so weird. I hate to do all the tapping, but you can hear the air in it. That's the way it's going to be, I guess. I'm going to add just a little bit more. I so dislike all that air. And then go ahead and fill it up the rest of the way. What I was doing was getting a little bit of a blend to that titanium dioxide in case it was a little speckly. So we're just going to set that aside. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add in the fragrance oil, which I've reduced to account for the white not being scented. Now I'm going to split some more off for blue. This is both of it's going to be blue, but one's going to be, actually no, what I do is I color the whole thing blue for starters. Alright, so this is some Klein Blue mica. I want to see how it's going to do first. So I do have some ultramarine blue mixed up. Okay, that looks pretty good. I may put some of the ultramarine blue into the darker blue color just to give it its color. Alright, that looks pretty good. And then, oops, but not aside, I'm not even to that point yet. So I'm going to pour in for some dark blue. And I am going to use just a bit of my ultramarine blue for this one. Doop. It sure does not take much. Tap out those air bubbles. That's still not what I'm looking for though, so in with some of my Klein blue again. That's looking delightful. Okay, I do want to use this stick blender for my next batch. So I'll soak it for now and clean it all up and sanitize it for the next one. Let's put just a little bit more in there because I want it just a smidgen darker. That's looking very nice. I think I'm going to add a bit more to this base as well. It's kind of looking, he's looking a little bit sad. Once that a little bit of discoloration kicks in, he will darken up a bit, so we don't want it to be too dark to start with. I'm about done with these square containers, I do believe. They're just not easy to scrape, especially when you're in a hurry. Okay, so get that mold in here. So I'm going to pour in some of this base blue first. It's a little darker than I had last year, I do believe. But I think the color contrast is still going to be pretty. So in with some of the darker blue. And then the white, which it's not thick because it didn't have any colorant, goodness, let's listen to me, fragrance, it didn't have any fragrance. Okay, and put in a bit more of this blue. A little bit more of the dark blue. And I'm going to put in the rest of the white. Now for the rest of this, you know what, I'm going to actually put in this blue first. Let the darker blue be on top so there's a little bit more contrast. I want this to be all glue on the top. That's why I'm kind of spreading it around here. So I'm just going to, I guess it's going to have a little bit of white, but odie weldy. I think it's a little thinner than I had it last year at pour time. But that actually looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Alright, I'm going to smack this down and get a little cleaned up and I'll be back. Okay, so now for the fun snowball part. I've rolled a whole bunch of white soap balls. And they're a little bit rougher because I rolled them quite fresh. But I love how it gives it a texture like an actual snowball. So that is just so much fun. This is just the best. I just love that swirly top. It is delightful. So I have plenty of snowballs here. I intended to put them in the middle again. Well, not again. We discussed, I think, at some point, putting them in the middle too. But I decided that after watching the video from last year that I really like it not in the middle. So I didn't put it in the middle. I have rolled so many soap balls for this winter season. Goodness. I had to roll soap balls for, let me think, Holly Jolly. Soap balls for this. Soap balls for Snowberry. Soap balls for, well, I guess I just rolled some extra for Sleigh Ride. So yeah, just, that's a lot of soap balls. You wouldn't think so, but it really is a lot of soap balls. And I do make special batches just for my embeds during the holiday winter season. So I'm just going to keep putting these in and I'll be back. So all the snowballs are in. I guess it's a really good thing I didn't put any inside because that's about all there was. And I do like a lot of soap balls on the top of this one. So now I'm just using some Snowflake biodegradable glitter. It's not an iridescent, just kind of a sparkly. There's a little iridescence to it, but not a whole lot. Oh goodness, my poor right hand gets tired of the poofing. But it does need a fair amount of this glitter on it. It's everywhere. So that's pretty much it. This is the Winter Wonderland soap, and I will be back for the cut. So here we are to cut Winter Wonderland soap. I thought that swirl just turned out so pretty. Loving it. So I did get a little bit of discoloration. And you just barely see it on this edge. It almost takes a green hue. But I have some other bars that have been cut for a while, and they aren't taking on that as much. Kind of, with this one, it always ends up being just kind of right there at first. So it looks like we'd have some planing to do to get these guys level. It does look like it's coming down in here a little bit. So I might end up with some mild discoloration on this one. My colors weren't, my blues weren't quite as potent this year. Just based on what I had to work with. I was trying to avoid the glisten rivers that I sometimes get using not titanium dioxide, but ultramarine blue. But I made the choice to use Klein blue, which I thought was quite similar to denim blue from another supplier, but it just doesn't have the ability to do that blue punch. I went to order more. Goes like, well, I'm not going to do without this any longer. And it's out of stock. So, you know, that's our life. That's our life as a soap maker. And, you know, even candle makers and stuff. It's like, you get to liking something and then you can't have it anymore. It's just from containers to scents to, you know, colors, wax. Even wax has been selling out very much, or many different suppliers this season. Even before that, I know some have reformulated, and one supplier shut down completely that a lot of people depended on, which I understand the reason. I know there's more to the story, and we just all have to be okay with it. Oh, that's really pretty. But it left a lot of people high and dry. There's a lot of people that utilize a lot of scents from one supplier just based on location, or that's just who they started with, and they've done all this testing. And candles especially are fickle, because candles, every single change you make can completely affect the entire thing. So every wick, every container, every wax, every fragrance, I mean, even if it's the same fragrance but from a different supplier, it has to be tested all over again. And so it's been very costly for a lot of people. I've lost several fragrances that were my main fragrances, and that's just the way it is for this year. I don't, even if they reopen, I don't know that they can be trusted not to close again, you know. It's just kind of what's been dealt this time. But my main idea of trying to tell you here is that we deal with a lot of frustrations like that. Like, first of all, we order from like 100 different suppliers, it seems sometimes, just to keep our main lines going. We always try to minimize the amount of suppliers we're using to save on shipping and such, but it's pretty much impossible because we don't have just like a supplier that has everything that we typically need. So anyway, that's the story. Probably shouldn't have bothered going into it, but it's just one of those things that affect us. It's either sold out or discontinued. Oh, that's a cool bar. Of course, these snowballs are so cute. So I don't anticipate this discoloring a whole lot. It might a little bit. Like I said, it seems like it has an initial discoloration, but watch, it'll discolor more in the long run just because I said that. But the picture I put on at the end, I always try for it to be the final result. Or I posted in my listing that it has changed some since then, since the picture. So this one's kind of a mess from my inability to line my mold properly, it seems like. So I'm not going to do anything more with that one. Well, I might be able to make that one work. Yeah. Oh, one more bar. Alright guys, so there you have it. Here we have Winter Wonderland.